the 13th National Parliament election of Bangladesh and also a referendum on the July Charter. Now, this election is closely watched even by neighbors, most importantly, India. The Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami chief said India is our biggest neighbor, and that's, of course, speaking from the point of view of Bangladesh, and that we need to have a priority in terms of dealing with India. This is the Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami chief's statement, which means that India is very much in focus for Bangladesh. But how does India see these elections? Why is India watching these elections? Firstly, in the post-Hasina Bangladesh, there has been a vacuum. India doesn't quite know whom to engage with in the absence of a democratically elected government. Remember, Bangladesh so far was being governed by an interim government that, so to speak, does not have the political mandate to take long-term decisions. Its decisions were meant to be elections, reforms for Bangladesh to hold elections, and that's something that the interim government has done. So who will India now have to engage with? First thing that will be clear is that who India engages with will be clear because of this election once there is a winner declared. So that's why India needs to watch this election very closely. Secondly, there is, of course, a problem of minorities. India has been consistently focusing on the continuing targeting of minorities in Bangladesh. And given that the Hindu minority have often sought refuge in India, this is something that India also needs to be sure of when it comes to dealing with Bangladesh. Because remember, if there is a government in Bangladesh that targets and, is not protecting minorities, then India would have to deal with what is going on and the repercussions of what is going on. Thirdly, if there's a very strongly open anti-India government in Bangladesh, then what happens is that India's neighborhood is disturbed. India is, of course, the largest country in this neighborhood. And this is something that also is important from the India point of view. Fourthly, in these elections, there has been a rhetoric that has, again, of course, been used by certain members of certain political parties. Anti-India rhetoric has to stop. That's why also India would like to engage with someone, but they need to know who to engage with. And that's why, again, it's very clear as to why India will be watching these elections very closely. This election will, of course, lead to, one hopes, bettering of ties. India would already be reaching out to perhaps, those who are the future rulers of Bangladesh, because that is something that is in the nation's interest. In fact, India would have to deal with Bangladesh, and that's something that is very critical from the security point of view, from the strategic point of view, and therefore that's the reason why India is watching these elections in Bangladesh so closely. With camera person Mursaleen in Dhaka, Bangladesh, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.